Welcome to the Grazing Grass Podcast, episode 201. And today we're headed north into Quebec to talk with Jacob Morin from Hardage, Angus, and Le Paysan Gourmand. Jacob, I hope I said that right. Jacob and his family are running a diversified, grass-based operation that combines rotationally grazed beef cattle, direct-to-consumer meat sales, market gardening, and on-farm innovation. In this conversation, Jacob shares how a college humanities class sparked his interest in alternative agriculture and what it's been like transitioning a family farm to support the next generation, and how intentional grazing has helped them build resilience in both their land and their business. We also dig into winter grazing in cold climates, infrastructure decisions, direct marketing challenges. This is a great episode if you're thinking about grazing in a cooler climate, direct-to-consumer beef, or how to design a farm that works for both the land and the family running it. You're listening to the Grazing Grass Podcast, where we share stories and practical ideas from producers who are listening to their land, managing livestock with intention, and building resilient grass-based operations. I'm your host, Cal Hardage. Hey ranchers, ready to start 2026 with a sharper focus on profitability? Noble Research Institute is kicking off the new year with two powerful courses. First, The Business of Grazing, January 21st through 23rd in Bossier City, Louisiana. You'll calculate gross margins, analyze real-world water and fencing investments, and build grazing plans that turn business goals into daily action. Then Noble Profitability Essentials, February 4th and 5th in Ardmore, Oklahoma. You'll plan for positive net farm income, create full budgets, and use ratios to benchmark your ranch and remove what's dragging down your bottom line. Noble pairs in-field research with ranch management expertise, giving you practical, real-world solutions. Visit noble.org today and start your year strong. For 10 seconds about the podcast, I want to briefly share something I've been building behind the scenes. This winter, I'm launching the Grazing Grass Masterclass Lab, a guided winter to summer grazing system for folks who want more clarity and confidence when grazing decisions matter. I'll share more soon, but you can learn about it at grazinggrass.com/masterclass. Jacob, we want to welcome you to the Grazing Grass Podcast. To get started today, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your operation?
Absolutely. Thank you, Cal, for having me on here. So I'm Jacob Morin from Hardage, Angus, and Le Paysan in south central Quebec, about halfway between Montreal and Quebec City. We are a second-generation farm that we've taken over from my mom and dad here on this 300 acres in St. Felix de Kingsey, Quebec. We have, at the moment, 70 cow-calf pairs. We try to market 100% of our cattle direct to the end consumer one way or another.
Oh, yes.
Either by purebred bulls, we sell about 15 bulls a year, 15 bred heifers, and everything else, cull cows and steers and stuff that doesn't make the cut goes for meat. Our direct-to-consumer meat sales that gets delivered to people's doorsteps from between Montreal and Quebec City. So we rent about another 200 acres outside the family farm to summer pasture the cattle. Buy in most of our hay now. We moved away from making a good part of our hay in the last few years, as rentals is harder. Getting leases for pasture land is being difficult in our area. And I'm not really a tractor guy, so it doesn't really bother me too much.
You know, one of my favorite days was almost one of my worst days, or not almost, it was. One of my best days on the farm was one of my worst days on the farm. We sold out the dairy cows. That was one of my worst days on the dairy. Or on the farm. But what made it one of the best days, we sold all of our haying equipment. So I'm not a a fan of having to get out there and do that. So I'm glad we buy hay or pay someone to bale our hay.
Yeah, we took pictures of most of our haying equipment this fall to put up for sale in the spring. So
Oh, yes.
we're working our way towards it.
Oh, well, very good. It's really, it'll drive you a little crazy because you don't have control over the process. And you're like, it's sunny out. You should be baling hay, but now we have a custom baler and he does not, he makes sure the grass is good and dry before he wraps it up. Whereas if we were doing it, we'd get out there probably a touch early, try and get it as soon as we could, So you have to let go of some things, but it's a nice let go.
Yeah, we got a little spoiled this year and watch the custom guys bale up our first and second cut in record time compared to what we can do it in. So it was.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, once you get the taste of it, I don't think we're going back.
Oh, yes. And the other thing is our equipment was always used equipment that needed attention. They come in, if something breaks down, they set it over at the side and they get another one and go after it and they'll fix it later.
Yeah.
We never had that flexibility.
Luxury. Yeah, and the mechanics tests my patience greatly, so.
Oh, right. I completely agree. I'm not a mechanic. So, Jacob, I think you mentioned your family had the farm, so you grew up with cattle and livestock.
Yeah, with beef cattle, mom and dad lived, the two of them full-time on the farm. They had between 70 and 100 cow-calf. Conventionally calved in the spring, in March and April, and had another group in September, October calvings, and just sold the calves at 6 months old.
Yeah.
After coming out of college with my wife and I, we decided we needed to, we wanted to be farmers full-time eventually, so we need to figure out a way to do that here. That's when we started selling grass-fed beef, and later on my wife decided she was going to leave her agronomist career to become a full-time vegetable farmer. She does market gardening here on the family farm.
Oh, yes. And are you full-time on the farm also?
Yeah, we've been the two of us full-time since 2020.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, when we had our twins and took off some time for work for that and didn't go back.
Well, actually, I see exactly why you're full-time there. Taking care of twins. That's a full job.
Yeah. I don't know who's the bigger handful, but we got a young boy who's 7 and the twins that are 5 now. But
oh, yeah.
He's just busy. Lots of fun.
But they are also getting to that age where they can be some help. So it's really going to be fun as that continues on.
Absolutely. We've got our projects.
I imagine so. Jacob, tell us a little bit about your land base there and the soil and what you're working with.
Right. It's we're in a silty loam, so fairly fertile soil. No rocks. We don't have to pick rocks when we were plowing or anything.
Nice.
So that was a bit of a luxury as well. Rolling hills, nothing too steep. We're kind of on the border of the Appalachian Mountains and the flats going up to the St. Lawrence River. So we're in that transition zone. So it's nice topography, but nothing too crazy to deal with.
Oh, yeah.
I think we're pretty lucky to have the scenery of the rolling, but not the tractors rolling backwards down the hill. So
exactly. Sounds like a great area.
Yeah.
How's your climate there as far as temperatures in the summer? What are you looking at? What are you looking at during winter?
Kind of, talking Celsius here. We're at a plus 30 summertime highs, which would be 85 maybe.
Yeah, 85, 90, somewhere in there.
Minus 30 is the lows in the winter, so that would be.
Oh, okay. That sounds pretty awful during the winter.
Minus 30 for Fahrenheit as well. So it quite a big range, but I mean, we can get some pretty good growth out of the summer here. Decent precipitation, 43 inches of annual precipitation, including the snowpack. Wintertime, this year we got ice early, so the ground's frozen now. We don't have to worry about too much mud. We just had a couple weeks at the end of November where it was a bit muddy, but now, from now till spring, we should be good. Keep the cows clean, and that's kind of our unfair advantage, I guess, is that it's so cold that we don't have mud for a good chunk of the year.
Yeah, that mud season's no fun. Of course, as you were talking about, the ground's frozen there and it'll be that way till spring. We've got a little bit of a north wind and it's kind of cool today. It is, well, it'd be around 0 degrees Celsius what it feels like.
Okay.
So we're just barely getting a little bit cold and I don't like it. I'll be honest.
As too cold.
Yeah. I don't want to get that cold, but it's not bad. We have some nice weather coming up this week also, but we're getting into that. But we never go long spells with the ground frozen. I remember I was interning, and I know this show's not about me, but I'll tell this short story until we'll get back to you, Jacob, the star. I was interning, teaching at school, and it was my final intern. So we got a snow like early January, and it stayed on the ground for 20 some days. We had inside recess because, snow, we can't go out. It's too cold, whatever. It stayed on the ground. We were frozen that long. We normally don't have that kind of freeze period. Usually we get a couple days and we thaw out. Or typically, it may be frozen in the morning and it's thawed by noon or 1.
Usually we don't have much snow till Christmas time, but this year we got it the first week of November. We got 8 inches one day of heavy wet snow, and then another 6 a couple days later. We weren't ready for it, but
oh yeah. How much snow do you all usually get through your snow season?
Accumulated never goes over 2 feet.
Oh yeah. So not as much as I was anticipating. I thought you might get a little bit more than that.
Last year was a record. We couldn't get anywhere in the quad after mid-January. The year before, we could get around on the four-wheeler all winter long. So it varies quite a bit. And we're in a region that's having less and less snow. There's still some areas a little farther east and a little farther north that get quite a bit more than us. But
oh, yes. Now, does that put your growing season are we talking like May 15th through October 15th or somewhere in that range?
A little earlier, we can get we can get the cows out. We've been doing it around the 7th of May the last few years.
Oh, okay.
So there's enough grass to start rotating, and even I probably could start a bit earlier. I'm just a little chicken to get out there too early. And the growing season this year, frost was a bit earlier, around the 10th of October, but the last few years it wasn't until 20th of October.
Okay. And when I'm thinking about grass species you're growing, you're mainly dealing with cool seasons, no warm season.
Yeah, all cool seasons unless it's warm season annuals that we're planting ourselves.
Yeah. Are you all doing some warm season annuals?
We do a bit of corn grazing that we plant the corn to graze full stalks, and we graze neighbors' corn residue when we get the opportunity.
Oh, yeah.
We've played a little bit with Japanese millet and sorghum Sudan when we want to renew a field that needs a bit of drainage or a bit of loving. We'll bale graze and then till it up, reset the field, and plant some sort of summer annual in there like that. Yeah.
How did the millet go for you? Is that something you all do occasionally now?
Yeah, every couple of years we just have a field of millet in, and I like it. Usually I get the cows in a bit late and it's all heading out, but it probably yields more than corn does.
Oh, yeah.
For the way we treat it anyways.
Yeah. So, and how are you managing the grazing on the pasture, on any of those annual crops as well?
The millet would have been daily breaks, just moving them away from the water source. The corn, however, we're grazing that in the new year, generally once the ground's frozen, that we're not mucking up the land.
Oh, okay.
So it's frozen corn. It's dead as dead can be. And we'll move the cows every 3 or 4 days into a new strip.
Now, I'm going to ask you a question that's, I'm sure, really simple. But as someone that's not in farm country, you mentioned planting corn for grazing. So I'm assuming you're letting it set its ear and then you're grazing it over winter the same way, but it's got whole corn ears on it.
Correct.
Whereas the corn residue, they've combined the corn off of it, but you're in there to graze that residue that's dead.
Right. That's all
right.
That's thrashed on the ground.
Oh, okay. So it's cut. It's not even standing. It's just on the ground.
Yeah, with the neighbors have harvested, it's usually thrashed on the ground.
Oh, okay. Do you,
Yes.
are you able to keep your cows out most of the winter, some of the winter?
Yeah, the dry cows are outside year round. It's been that way for probably close to 10 years now.
Oh, yeah.
We once the grazing season finishes, well, we're actually still grazing right now. We should be good till pretty near Christmas. With the dry cows, we just weaned the calves last week, and then we'll move on to our standing corn, and that's good for about 45 days, and then we'll do bale grazing up until calving in May.
Oh, nice.
But we just keep moving them along as long as they're not in the same place too long when the mud season starts in the spring, where not too much issue.
Yeah, that mud season can cause some headaches for you.
Yeah, it's my least favorite time of year, but we do have a yard that we can bring the cattle into to keep them out of the mud. We have a nice little pad you can bring the cows in on and feed them if it gets too nasty out there.
Yeah. And one of the things I was really wondering about, if you had a barn, you need to bring those animals in for a certain part of the year, or you were able to keep them out. Sounds like you're able to keep them out most of the time.
Yeah, so we do have an old freestall dairy barn that came with the farm that Mom and Dad bought that went bankrupt in the 80s, and Dad got it a few years later. So we feed out some of our finishing steers in there just to keep them warmer and get better gains through the winter months. But it's only used for those guys. The cows and most of the weaned calves stay out all winter long.
Which is a great benefit, be able to do that, or I assume it would be. And we'll get into your type of cows in a little bit. But let's talk a little bit more about your grazing practices. You're giving them daily breaks. Are you out there with polywire tread-ins, or do you have more permanent fences? How are you managing, or how are you confining your animals would be a better question.
Yeah, so our farm is now fully fenced to the perimeters of all the big major fields. We put in through a Canadian funded program 3 years ago, 2022, 2023. We were able to fence off all of what were only hay fields. Now they're permanently fenced off with 2-strand electric wire everywhere.
Oh, okay. High tensile.
And then within that, we make the breaks on a daily or twice daily basis with Gallagher reels and fiberglass, 3/8 fiberglass posts.
How do you do that when the ground gets solid?
So this year the ground's not too hard yet. We're still able to get through there. There's enough snow that it just kind of stiffened it up where we can push the posts in. But
very good.
But if it gets too cold, then we'll take out a 12-inch masonry bit on a battery drill, and we pre-drill the hole into the frozen ground and then put the posts in it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, where there's a will, there's a way.
There is. And I've heard of people doing it, and I'll be honest, the hardest time I have on putting tread-ins in, and I'm using tread-ins most of the time. I have some 3/8 inch posts, but I usually use tread-ins, and the hardest time for me is when we're dry in August. And then usually I can look for a crack in the ground and kind of get it started there. But winter's usually not too much of an issue for me.
Mm-hmm. Well, us this summer too, I was getting pretty dry at one point. It was hard going pushing my fiberglass posts into the ground. I never put out the drill this summer, but I was thinking about it, that's for sure. Now, we like the fiberglass posts. They're self-insulating, and the way we have them stored in our quad while we're making the fences, they don't get tangled like wood. I can carry a couple hundred with me and get in a big mess.
So actually that brings up a question. So I have a few of the 3/8. I don't like I like carrying them because I can carry a whole bunch in my hand versus the tread-in, and then I can. I really got to carry a whole, or just a few. I got to figure out some way to carry it or a bag. With those 3/8 inch posts, I put little wire connectors on them, and those get caught with each other. I was talking to someone, and they said, no, for them, they just looped their polywire a certain way as they did it. I admit I tried that, and I haven't figured it out yet. How are you getting the wire onto your 3/8 inch fiberglass?
Our supplier, my original supplier, he sold them with a plastic pigtail insulator. So
Oh, okay.
it squeezes around the 3/8 rod, and you can adjust it height-wise. There's just a little loop that you can put the wire cuts, very similar to the pigtail and the Gallagher, just smaller and tighter. So those don't get tangled up at all. We do also have the Gallagher provided wire. They're not an insulator, but the little thing that holds the wire. And I don't like those as much. They do get tangled to each other when they're in the bundle in the front of my quad, and I fight with them to get them apart. But those plastic ones are quite fun, but they do have a life, a limited life to them.
Oh, yes. So I don't know that I've seen what you're talking about. So if you get a chance next day or two or whenever, shoot me a picture of that. I'd love to see that.
Well,
And I did talk to someone. Well, I talked to Eli Mack. He's in Pennsylvania, works with Kinco, talking about Kiwi Tech and their post. And they use a 3/4 inch fiberglass post with the plastic deals on it, which they're supposed to be pretty nice. But I haven't used any of those yet.
I have a couple of those. I do like the price got me away from
The price will. I have one of the Kiwi Tech reels that I had to take out a small loan to buy.
Yeah, they're pretty neat. Well, my wife and I went on a trip down to New Zealand, and we saw these everywhere down there. That's what everybody seemed to use. Like
Yes.
Kiwi Tech with the whole system got going. And that's how come I bought my first couple, but that's where it stayed.
Actually, you bring up a great question, or that brings a great question in my mind that I kind of skipped over at the first today, and I usually don't make that error, but I did today. What got you interested in rotating your animals?
It was humanities course in college was what kicked it all off. That's
Wait, that is not an answer I've gotten before on the podcast, so you have to expand on that.
Yeah, our teacher was showing us alternative ag, and one of the part of the curriculum was we watched Food Inc.
Oh, yes.
And that introduced me to Joel Salatin, and that's what kicked it all off. That's when I saw the opportunity of everything we could do on our small farm and make a living, make room for ourselves with mom and dad, and pay a second family to live here.
Right, and that's always the issue if you have a child coming home to farm with you, or you're the child coming home. That income's got to increase to support two families now.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was a big challenge, but thanks to that humanities course, I think that's really what set us on this path.
So do you run cattle with your folks as well?
So building our herd, that was in 2010. I guess I would have saw that Food Inc. And I already had a few cows that that was my pay for helping out, was to have a few cows.
Oh, yes.
And since we graduated college, I started buying cows and kind of just raised them parallel with mom and dad's herd. They were all mixed together in one herd, and we just took care of each other's cows. And then finally in 2019, we convinced mom and dad to kind of hand over the reins, and we bought the remainder of their herd and became the managers and owners of everything.
Oh,
They still own the land. We rent it from them, but everything else we're in charge of.
Oh, very good. That's a great way for you to build up and get everything going without that huge purchase of land.
Yeah, because as you may know, owning cows and dad owning cows, you don't always see eye. It's not, can create a bit of friction sometimes. So I think it was a good thing for everybody when it finally worked out. And
Well, that leads me to my next question that I was leading to, was when you told your dad that you'd watched this film in humanities and you had some new, different ideas about how to do that, how was his take on it?
he wasn't going to be the guy going to move the string fence, that's for sure. But I think after a while, he realized that it was making a difference, and we were able to run more cows on the same land.
Yeah. So he did let you try it and see what it would do.
Yeah, I can't tell you who paid for that first reel. It was me or him, but we got a couple reels that we'd ordered from those folks just down east. They were O'Brien reels,
Oh, yes.
that I'd heard about. And anyway, that was the rest is history, I guess. Some Paysan valves and some O'Brien reels. That's where we're going.
That brings us to your watering infrastructure. How are you providing water to your animals?
Yeah, we started installing above ground. We started with 3/4-inch poly pipe back then. We covered 60 acres behind Mom and Dad's place. Above ground with some Paysan valves every 300, 400 feet. Now we have them everywhere with 1 and 1.25 lines. So anywhere you stand on the farm, basically within 400 feet, you can plug in a pipe, plug in a hose and
Yes.
in a water tank. And we also installed for winter times geothermally heated water tanks, kind of strategically placed throughout the farm. So one tank will cover 70 acres or so. They're called stock boss. They're 8 feet deep in the ground, full of, and just the fact that the warmer water from down below rises and the colder water from the top drops. It creates a bit of a circulation that gives us electricity-free water all winter long.
Oh, yes. And so it's self-contained. It's just, it's 8 foot deep, obviously, but it doesn't have any pipes or anything. It's all just that.
There's a pipe from the well.
Okay. Well, you got to fill it some way.
Yeah.
Okay. That's interesting to do it like that. So with your on-the-ground pipe, do you still run on the ground during the summer?
Yeah. Under fence lines.
Oh, okay. And you roll it up for winter?
No, we just take off the last Paysan valve, or if there's a low spot that we think needs to be drained. But there's always a bit of water. It never hasn't caused issue yet. Knock on wood.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
No, but some people take an air compressor and blow out the pipes. We've maybe a bit lazy and have never done it, but
I understand that. No worries. Yeah, that works out good because I always imagine about putting that what is it, HDPE out, and then thinking, well, if I have to roll it up or something, but I would be the one. I'd let it set. I'd figure out how to get it drained because I wouldn't want to roll it back up. Or anything.
Yeah, you can't roll it up once the grass grows over top of it.
Yeah,
we've moved a few lines. Good. We've moved a few lines over the year. It's not an enjoyable process here, anyways, with all the grass residue that grows over top of it.
Oh, yeah,
underneath the fence lines. It's a real pain to try to just pull up.
I think you said that was 3/4 inch.
The first stuff we put in was 3/4.
Oh, okay.
We have 1 inch and 1 1/4.
And how were you feeding that off a well?
Yep.
And were you getting enough flow with 3/4 inch or enough volume?
Barely. As long as you had a big enough reservoir or a stock tank at the end, it was okay. But when we started moving daily and dragging the stock tank along with us, we downsized the stock tank, and it wasn't quite enough volume there to buffer when a bunch of cows came drink at the same time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And then panic sets in, and it's a mess with it.
Then you have to sit there for 2 hours while everybody gets a drink and doesn't knock anything over. On a hot summer day, it's not too bad, but when it's getting dark at the end of fall, it's not as enjoyable.
Exactly. No, I completely get that. Yeah. So you have water in place. Your fencing structure sounds like you have that going. So really able to optimize those daily moves and do what you need to. Am I remembering correctly? Do you sometimes move them twice a day, or is it just once a day?
Yeah, we started that this year, moving our group at the home farm here twice a day. I think it was well worth it. We got a better trampling on the field, a little more even grazing. I can see why people do it 4 and 6 and 8 times a day.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not there yet, but you can really see the difference just between a 2-day and a twice a day and a once a day move.
Oh, yes. So do you think next spring you'll do twice a day again?
Yeah, we're going to continue that for sure. And I think if we added a third and a fourth, we'd probably buy some bat latches or something.
Right. I tried to do some multiple moves during day this year, and I don't want to say the gate. I got a gate one that should work, and maybe I'm not smart enough, but I had trouble with it.
Okay.
So that's the reason I'm not saying the name of it. It just didn't work good for me, but I saw, we had a few episodes back, South Pole Field Day, and over there, Nathan Hahn, I think he had some of those bat latches, and they look like they'd work pretty good.
Yeah, I think they do. I've seen a fellow with them here in Quebec using them, and he was quite happy with it. He was even using them in the wintertime to give bales to his cattle for bale grazing. If he would leave for the weekend or whatever, he'd.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so they even work in the wintertime.
Yeah, very good. At Redmond, we know that you thrive when your animals do. That's why it's essential to fill the gaps in your herd's nutrition with the minerals that they need. Made by nature, our ancient mineral salt and conditioner clay are the catalyst in optimizing the nutrients your animals get from their forage. Unaltered and unrefined, our minerals have the natural balance and proportion that your animals prefer. This gives your herd the ability to naturally regulate their mineral consumption as they graze. Our minerals won't just help you improve the health of your animals, but will also help you naturally build soil fertility so you can grow more nutrient-dense pasture year after year. Nourish your animals, your soil, and your life with Redmond. Learn more at redmondagriculture.com. When you're grazing, you're deciding when to move your cows. What's your goal? Are you trying to take half, leave half, graze a third, trample a third, leave a third, or is it total grazing? What are you trying to accomplish on the grass front?
I'm trying to keep the cows grazing for as long as possible through the season. That's the main goal. So it depends on the season as well. In the spring, we're leaving quite a bit more, moving them faster. But it seems to be a struggle. I'm always arguing with myself, what should I have done better last time? And it changes through the season. It changes from year to year. This year, since we were in drought in the second part of summer, we were grazing a little harder, slowing down the rotation. I think we hit 100 days, which is not normal for us. Usually we're in the 60 to 70 days rotation.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it changes from year to year, day to day, and we're always struggling to figure out the right recipe, I guess. There's not really a perfect recipe, but I like to think we're improving all the time. The word I like to use is intentional grazing. So,
oh yes, I like that word.
We have intent with what we're doing. It's not perfect and it's not the same every time, but we have a goal, and
yeah. I like thinking of it, intentional grazing. We'll have to push that out. We need another term for grazing out there.
Yeah, because there's not enough as it is.
Yeah, there's not enough yet. But I do.
The total grazing in our environment, I'm not sure is ideal. I understand its merits in maybe the warmer areas, but I can't see it being great here. So, yeah, you have to just kind of go with your context and what you feel is right.
You're exactly right. All of our contexts are a little bit different, and you got to figure out what works. And there's not a recipe. We would love for it to be a really nicely defined recipe, but there's not. That's that art part of it that you're trying to figure out. And just when I think I've painted a masterpiece, the next round it goes in the trash and I got to relearn how to do it. So, it's one of those things, but as long as you keep working, keep trying, being, as you said, intentional.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's a word that fits what we're doing quite well.
Yeah, I think it does. So we haven't talked about your cattle. What kind of cattle are you running? And you mentioned you're selling some bred heifers, you're selling some bulls, as well as marketing coal animals direct to consumer.
Yeah, so kind of all at the same time when we learned about Food Inc., I finished school and got a job at a neighboring farm here. He had Angus, Hereford, and a Simmental cattle. and I had a soft spot for the black Angus that he had there. So part of my pay there was getting some cows, and a couple years later they had a big dispersal, so I knew the families that I liked there and picked up some pretty high quality black Angus cows for a reasonable price, and that's where we got going. Now that where we're sitting at is about 70%, 50 purebred registered Angus breeding stock, with the balance being a cross between some Solaires and Simmental and Angus.
Oh, yes. So interesting. There's some Solaires. Are they common in your area, or enough? You have some, obviously.
in our micro area, there were quite a few. We've only got 3 purebreds left, but I was a kid growing up. That's what I showed in 4-H, and there was a local show. There was 4, 5, 6 breeders that brought their Solaires there. And
oh, yes. And to be honest, this is not the first time we've talked about Solaires on the Grazing Grass podcast, which is always, if I would have put it on a bingo card, I would have said we would never talk about it once. But we had some, running Solaires. And I told them, I said, I don't think I've ever seen a Solaire. I'm sure I have at a county fair or a state fair sometime. And they were pretty adamant. They're sure I have. I just didn't realize what I was looking at.
If you ever want to see some, the door's open. We still have a few kicking around. So.
Oh, okay. Well, it'll have to be warmer weather. I don't like the cold weather.
Bring a toque.
Yeah.
You're in Kansas, is it?
I'm in Oklahoma.
Oklahoma. Okay.
Yeah, I'm an hour from Kansas, so just a little bit south. So with your Angus, what size are they? Because, we always have this conversation about how big animals are.
Yeah. Last year was the first time at weaning we ran the cows over the scale. So they range from 150 to 1,400 pounds, but the average was right around the 12.
Oh, yeah.
Which is pretty much where we want to be. I still think we could bring the frame size down a bit and keep a 1,200 pound cow. That's kind of what we're going for. We started importing some semen from Faro Cattle Company in the last few years to try to bring our cattle down. I really like his type of cows and his philosophy, so we used one of the bull calves this summer to breed our heifers. So we're gonna a bit more of his genetics here soon. And we bought a walking bull from Edie Creek in Manitoba, who's also the same type of cow. So we're aiming for that smaller 4 frame animal, 1,200 pound cow that can keep its condition over the winter. Sorry, and we're working there. We're working our way there. Our breeding philosophy is really our culling philosophy, I guess. Any cows that don't work don't stay. We have a market for their beef program, so it's a lot easier to cull than I guess my dad might have had just getting a bottom dollar at the sale barn.
Oh yeah.
And that's not very nice. Doesn't take care of a calf. Bad feet. They go out the door. So the herd gets better every year.
And yes, that's an excellent way to improve your herd. You've got a nice market for those animals that don't fit your program. So yeah, that works out really well. With your cows, I believe you said you're calving in May?
Yeah, we calve in May and June. We put the bulls out August 1st. So we used to calve in January and February, back when we finally took over. Well, it was my idea to calve in January and February. Don't get me wrong. I wanted the biggest calf at the 4-H show back in the day. So,
well, yeah, you've got to calve then if you want that.
But when we took over from Mom and Dad, we had a terrible year. We had 40 cows calving in January and February and had really poor luck. And that was our last year calving in January and February. I haven't looked back since. It's May and June. Like, you're out on grass, very little issues with the sickness, and we cull cows that have ever had any calving issues. So we really have to deal with a cow on pasture anyways. We're really happy with that decision, and we're sticking to it.
Yeah, it's really nice to be able to to calve your cows out and not have issues, not have to pull any calves. It's really nice when you can get there and not have to deal with all that.
And the cleanliness, I mean, they're moving every day. It's always
Yeah.
on fresh grass. You don't have to buy straw, or it's all these other costs that our neighbors deal with, and we don't anymore.
Yeah, excellent. So you're calving out then. You are weaning just before winter gets there, I believe, because you weaned just a little bit ago, and now you've got dry cows and you've got your weaned calves. Do you manage them similar over winter, or do you do the calves a little bit different?
The calves stick around. Well, last year the cows and the calves stayed together till into the new year.
Okay.
They came off grass in their summer pasture in much better condition. And this year with the drought and a couple pastures with poor water quality, found the cows were drained down a little more, so we weaned them 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, which is excellent management, paying attention to your cows. What are they telling you? And you thought, well, I need to go ahead and wean them this year. So excellent job paying attention to that and making a decision based upon that, and not on the calendar.
Yeah, it's just, to take the time to do it was a little harder, but I mean, you got to do it. You got to do it if you want next year to pay off. So the calves stayed in that yard where they were weaned, and they're being fed some higher quality second cut feed with fresh water there to try to get their weights up where we want them to be. Find the bigger we can get them by spring, the more they gain the following summer on the grass to get a bigger finished animal in the fall.
Will you keep them in a lot all winter? Feed them hay? Do you feed any grain to them, or is it all grass-based?
They're strictly grass-fed. They will likely stay in that lot for till grass next spring. The bred heifers are in a lot right beside them right now. We're supposed to preg check those this week, and then they'll go back. We still have some grass left that they can go graze until we'll be delivering most of those bred heifers right around the new year. So.
Oh, yes. Yeah. So with your yearling calves or your weanling calves, they're not yearlings yet. Keep them in a lot. You're going to run them in pasture next year. Do you run those as one herd with your cows, or do you manage them over the summer as a different herd?
No, we have the 300 acres on the home farm. This year we had all the yearlings, the bred heifers, and a group of 25 cow calf pairs. They were all mixed together. They were all one group. And then we have our rented summer pastures. We have 3 other ones that have varying groups from 6 cow calf to 30. And those guys get moved once a week, and they're strictly cow calves in those ones.
Oh, okay. So the ones at the home farm you're moving daily or even twice daily.
Correct.
But when you go out on that lease ground, for some obvious reasons, travel time and other things, they're getting moved at a slower pace.
Yeah. Once a week. I mean, one year we acquired a fairly big pasture, but right off in spring, and we didn't take the time to divide it up. So it was just 30 pairs for the whole summer, just roaming around, and those calves were nervous in the fall. The land was drained. The following year, I divided it into 6 paddocks, and it makes a world of difference for the temperament of the cattle, and the grass gets that little break to rejuvenate.
Yeah, that's an excellent point there, just in the temperament of your animals. I think I mentioned on an episode a while back that our calves this year are more nervous than they typically are, and I don't know why. I'm trying to figure that one out, but it's on my dad's herd, and my dad's herd doesn't get moved daily. I played with a few different things with them this year, but we have semi-permanent paddocks at my dad's house, or at my dad's house, on my dad's place, and so they get moved depending on how long they need to stay in each paddock. But they don't get the time with me. I need to tell my wife this. The cattle that get more time with me are calmer. I just had a epiphany right now. Wow, wait till she hears this.
Bring your stress levels down. Just spend more time with cattle.
Yes,
I believe it.
Exactly. She'll be ecstatic to hear this. So you bring your calves through winter. You're grazing them during the summer. Do you keep them for a second winter?
We started keeping them for a second winter. The first few years when we took over, we needed the cash flow. So most of the animals went to 16 to 18 months old to the abattoir. But in the last few years, we've been keeping. This year we're starting to ship in February. So they'll be 21 months old, 20 months old, and we're really finding the quality of the meat is completely different. But we're having to carry the costs over to our retail meat, and with this year and the calf prices the way they are, it's proven to be difficult to increase our price enough to cover all those costs of keeping the extra winter and the opportunity cost loss of that calf. But the quality meat is impeccable.
And it's a tough time for direct to consumer. Beef prices are higher in the store, but your coal price for an animal through a sale barn is so much higher than it's been. You got to figure that cost in, and it makes it a little bit tougher sell if you're keeping your prices up so you're not shortchanging yourself in that process.
Yes, I think we're going to be seeing a bit of a changeover in our customers. The guys that aren't willing to pay are dropping off, but there's other guys willing to pay that are coming aboard, and I think they're going to see the difference in the quality of the beef compared to where they might have been getting it previously. So maybe it's a good thing in the end.
Maybe so.
We'll be changing up that customer base, but it was a big dilemma all summer, wondering what we were going to do with the prices, and was it worth losing customers? And after working all these years to get them,
right?
And I'm not sure if we're lucky or what you would call it, but since we're producing our own calves, we've got a bit of buffer room there. We're losing the opportunity cost. We're still producing it at a low cost. There's still lots of profit to be made here.
Oh yeah,
we're not buying the calf.
Yeah, when you think about your customer base and the turnover happening, is it like a 20% turnover, a 50%? What kind of turnover are you looking at?
The guys buying small volumes isn't changing a lot. It's the ones buying the bulk beef, the half and whole beef.
Oh yes,
that when it's going from $3,500 to almost $6,000 for an animal,
right.
Some step back and other guys step in. So there it's probably a 50% changeover. But the smaller $250, $300 orders don't change because those guys just look at the total cost.
Right.
They have $300 to spend.
Yeah. And that's their budget for their beef, and whatever they get with that, that's what they're going to get, and they're going to make it work.
Yeah.
Do you sell, what percentage of your market is selling those wholes and halves versus these smaller packages?
Probably a 60-40 in the quarters and halves and wholes compared to the smaller boxes and retail cuts.
Oh, yes. And with those, you take them to the abattoir, and then the customer picks it up there?
No, everything is delivered to their house.
Oh, okay. So even if they're buying a whole or a half, you're still delivering that meat to them?
Yeah, we want to have the final. We want to shake their hand and deliver it to them, not just be a transaction over the phone.
Oh, yeah. And that makes sense. Now, in Oklahoma and most of the states, like if I'm having a local processor here, the one in Chelsea, process my meat and I'm selling to a consumer, I'm selling that animal to the consumer, and then they're paying the processing fee. It sounds like your laws in Canada may be a little different there. Or I say that if I take it to a USDA inspected plant, then those I can sell by the cut, and I have more flexibility there.
Yeah,
my local one's
similar
not.
to that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we deal with they call it C1. It's the provincially inspected abattoir, and with that we can bring it to our place and retail it from here. Whereas a local abattoir, the consumer would have to buy the animal from us and then go pick it up there.
Oh, okay. So same structure,
Yeah.
just a little bit different terminology there.
Yeah.
So do you have a C1 avatar close to you?
Yeah, we're pretty lucky being in central Quebec. There's a handful within an hour of us.
That's really nice. Yes.
Yeah, we're pretty spoiled for that. We have some friends that live in northern Quebec, and they have to truck their cattle 7 hours to go to the abattoir, and then
Oh, wow.
and then ship their meat back 7 hours or come down and get. Yeah, we're pretty spoiled for that.
Yeah.
It's only about 30 minutes away. Our local abattoir and the butcher shop is right next door to it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, very good. Okay, so help me out with your terminology there. What does the abattoir do, and what does the butcher shop do?
The abattoir is killing.
Okay.
It's provincially inspected kill plant, and then the butcher does the aging and packaging, cutting.
Oh, okay. So they're broke up into separate processes.
Yeah, for the most part, for the provincially inspected stuff, they're separate.
Oh, okay.
Whereas the local abattoir usually has a cut floor beside it.
Right, and
in the same building.
That's what we have locally. Yeah, it's all right there, one building. Take the animal. We come back a couple of weeks and bring it back home in packages.
Yeah.
With your beef that you're selling, are you doing any value-added products, or is it just the cuts from the butcher shop?
We do some. We have jerky available. Like, it all has to be done at one of these provincially inspected butcher shops as well. So they do offer jerky, brisket. How do you call it? Smoked meat. It's like a smoked brisket, but Montreal style. I'm not sure you guys have another name for that.
I'm not even sure what you're talking about. So we might.
Yeah, like not salami. Anyways, moving on.
Yeah.
And some sausages, pepperettes, like a jerky stick.
Oh, yes.
And that's about it that we do from them. And ourselves, my wife, anything that she can't sell through the vegetable market, or the things that are going past, or the things that aren't too pretty, she'll transfer them into canned, like pickled beets or dill pickle or
Oh, yes.
zucchini relish and type things like that.
Is she able to do that at your home kitchen, or does she have to find a commercial kitchen to do that?
Yeah, for that under I'm not sure what the threshold is. Under a certain threshold, we can do it in our home kitchen.
Yeah. For Oklahoma, it's been a few years, but that's available now. We can do certain things in our home kitchen. It just has to be labeled. It's not inspected, and it was done, and we got to have the address there, and blah, blah, blah. Have everything on the label for that.
Yeah, that's great that they open that up.
Right. I completely agree.
What's that called? The cottage?
Yes, it's the cottage exemption, I believe is what it's called. Yeah. Doesn't really fall into the grazing grass or our whole premise here. I'm kind of curious about what your wife's doing. How much garden space is she running for vegetables, and what kind of vegetables does she grow?
We set up about an acre market garden here outdoor. Maybe some of the listeners are familiar with Jean-Martin Fortier as the guru in that area, and that's what we based our system off of. They're 100-foot beds, 30-inch wide beds, and there's about an acre outside, bio-intensive, so the things are really close together, planted closely together, so they create a canopy, and the weeds have a harder time growing up through. And we have 10,000 square feet of greenhouse, where we produce tomatoes, cucumbers, more of the heat-loving stuff, ginger. We grow baby ginger in the ground there too. And she sells a good bulk of it by CSA vegetable baskets, delivered weekly from mid-June till Halloween. And we have a honor system kiosk on the side of the road just at the end of our driveway that we sell about a third of our vegetables, where we just fill it up with veggies, and passers-by put money in a box and leave with their stuff.
Oh, very good.
We sell a little bit more to local restaurants and the grocery store in town. Small contracts like that.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
With your CSA, are you sending any beef out that way as well?
A small percentage out of our 65 baskets, weekly baskets of vegetables. We had 10 people that signed up for a monthly delivery of diversified meat basket. So,
okay.
I mean, it gets them to taste our stuff, but it's not a big chunk of our meat sales.
Right. But on the other hand, you're already traveling to deliver the vegetables. So adding some meat there, it's not adding a lot of cost to you. So,
No, it's an upsell for sure.
yeah. But then if they happen to become more of a customer and start buying more, that'd be really nice, huh?
Yeah. Well, I mean, they just need to have a friend over and have a steak with them, and we might get their friend as a customer.
Yeah, very good.
This year we did 50 hogs from May 1st till mid-August, and sell them by the quarter, half, and whole.
Did you? So you bought them as feeder pigs. What kind of rotation? You moving them very often? How are you managing those?
So that part was inspired by Joel Salatin. Same idea that he kind of prescribed was per acre for a ton of meal, a ton of grain, and that's it. We had 12 paddocks this summer, and we made it through them all just in time for their butcher date. So they got that ton and a modified calf creep feeder that we cut the wheels off, and that's what they eat out of. And we have quick attach couplers, plastic couplers, just like the cattle. And yeah, they're a whole different beast than cows, that's for sure.
That they are, yes. In fact, I'm wanting to get some pigs. I purchased a few feeder pigs to try this year, and I had a big problem with them. So I'd like to. I'm considering. Well, I've thought about buying some bigger gilts and just raising them all. Why go only halfway when you can go all the way? But also the bigger hogs, bringing in some bigger gilts. My problem with my feeder pigs was my livestock guardian dogs.
Okay.
I had one of them killed my pigs. So I'm thinking if I brought in bigger gilts, then maybe I could get him to figure out I want him here, and we could work out some kind of compromise with that. He wouldn't have pork. But
that'll be a project too. If we get sheep, is probably getting a livestock guardian dog, which we do not have. Don't have too much experience with that either. So,
here's my advice for you with that. Make sure you get it from someone who's had them with animals. I purchased a few over my lifetime. One of the biggest mistakes I made was I went over and looked at these puppies. They were out with goats. I thought this is going to be great. And they had to go on vacation. So it was after their vacation, I go over there to pick them up. And I go over there and pick it up. And they have the puppy in the house. Mm-hmm. And they are it's just a big pet in the house. And so when I looked at it, it was with the goats and not wanting all that people attention. But man, when I saw it in the house, I should have said, no, this is not going to work for me. She never worked out for me. So make sure you get it from working parents, and they haven't turned them into a house dog part of the time.
They had done some nice staging for you.
They did, and they got me. Because I paid good money for a registered dog, and she was no good. But the good ones are well worth the money. But with your hogs, you mentioned something there. You mentioned that when you bought your feeders, you based it on what your customers wanted. So did you put it out there for pre-orders? Did they put in a deposit, or was it just kind of, I think I want one? How'd you do that? Just to cover yourself as well as provide the meat.
Yeah, so we started the hogs just to have a couple for ourselves, and then friends and family wanted some, so we went from 2 to 4, and then the following year from 4 to 8, and it just kept growing from there. So every year we had an established client list, and they'd give us their deposits, and then we'd order a few extras.
Oh, yeah.
That's how it went along. Once we got somebody with pasture raised hog, they don't want anything else. So
Oh, yes.
our client list is pretty stable for. Yeah, it's the same hog, same feed, different environment, and it's not the same meat whatsoever.
Oh, yes.
It's pretty interesting.
Are you doing sounds like you're not doing anything special for meat, like soy-free or corn-free. You're just buying hog feed?
Yep.
Yeah. And what breeds are you using?
They're a land race, a Yorkshire cross, so just a regular old pink pig.
Okay, so just pretty much a commercial hog.
Yep.
Yeah.
They come from commercial farrowing facility.
Oh, okay. Well, you're not helping me because I'm dying to try this, and it's just making me want to try it even more.
Oh yeah, it's great. It is the highest margin thing we do here on the farm. So.
Oh yeah. Do you also do some poultry with them? Probably not in the same pen as the pork.
We do it just for ourselves now.
Okay.
When we started out, we did the whole Joel Salatin pens and did that for quite a little while. But with everything else going on, the time involved in that, it wasn't worth it. We need to put our time into the cows and into the vegetables was where our main money making stuff was. So now we just do 50 chickens for ourselves and mom and dad, and
oh yeah,
that's plenty. We do have a few layers that we do an upsale with our CSA vegetable baskets, 50 to 100 layers, but that's more just to have them. We're gonna have a few for ourselves anyways, so we do.
Right, and then you've got a built-in market there, so if they want some eggs, it's easy for you to provide that as an upsell.
Yeah. Yeah, and most of those are pre-sold as well with the CSA. They order them ahead of time, and we know how many we need every week for the rest of the summer.
Oh yes, with the CSA, and how does the CSA work? Do they pay it like a monthly subscription, and it's like they get X amount, they get like so many pounds of veggies, a dozen eggs, some meat, or how's that structured?
So we've refined it a little bit over the years, but they pay us either all of it up front or in 2 installments, one at the beginning and one through the season.
Okay.
And so the baseline is we offer them 9 vegetables every week from mid-June till 1st of November for 20 weeks. They can order either 10, 14, 18, or 20 baskets over that 20-week period. And last year, 2 years ago now, we offered a custom system. They have $35 to spend in our online store for those number of weeks. So they can build their basket exactly how they want it. They can order only carrots one week if that's what they want.
Oh, yes.
That way people who aren't as adventurous in the kitchen can still benefit from getting organic local vegetables and not waste anything. Which was kind of a problem for folks who don't know what kohlrabi is or don't like eating fennel or things just a little off the side of lines. Yeah.
Does that, with them being able to pick what they're getting, did that cause any problems with you producing enough?
No, which is what we were afraid of.
Yes.
But we already kind of knew what our customers liked, so we do have extra fennels sometimes, or I'm not sure any other examples really, but for the most part, we sow lots of carrots and have lots of tomatoes and lots of cucumbers, and so that part was covered. And the kiosk, the self-serve kiosk on the side of the road, is kind of our buffer. So if we're a little short on carrots this week, well, we'll just put a few less bunches on the side of the road. And
right. Yeah. And that's a great way to use that in my mind. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the idea of doing some market vegetables. I've talked about it. I've even tilled up gardens in the past with the plans of it, but I've never followed through with it.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure how we're going to age into the whole vegetable thing. One of the kids might be interested, or a young couple will want to take over eventually, or we'll just end up filling our 3 greenhouses with sheep, or I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, there you go.
it's not necessarily something you grow old doing. I don't think at that scale. But anyway, for now it's working.
Well, very good.
We enjoy it. So,
What would you all like to do in 5 years? Where would you all like to see your farm?
that's a big one, Cal.
It is.
Oh, well, for land size, I'm feeling like there's a lot of pressure from grain farmers in our and people who come from areas where land has a higher value, and I can't compete with the renting or purchasing land. So we're kind of stuck at the size we are, I feel like, for this area. But I think we have opportunity to bring in other farmers from different parts of the province that we can market their beef under our name, and that would be that's how I see ourselves growing, marketing other producers' beef that follow a similar prescription, or however you want to say, of producing the cattle.
Right.
We launched a pretty decent online store last year that we're working the kinks out of, but it's coming along, and through that, I think there's lots of opportunity as well to market our beef to the bigger public. We like, for the kids, I talked about having projects for the kids. We're planning on getting some sheep for next summer to give the young guys a bit of a responsibility. We've been talking for a couple of years, and I think especially the oldest is at a time where it's time to make the move and get them those sheep. And I mean, I've had sheep before, and I really enjoyed them. Didn't have enough time, that's why we got rid of them. But now that the rest of the farm's kind of set up, we can just add a wire or two to our high tensile perimeter and use our electrified nets and do something with that. Another little something that we added on to our offering, we also have forest raised pigs.
Okay.
We do. They're not raised on grass pasture by any means, but we do forest raised pigs to add to our offering of meats to consumers. Those we have a fixed quantity that we order in the spring according to kind of our pre-orders plus a little bit, and we sell them out every year.
Well, Jacob, it's almost time we transition to our famous four, but before we transition, is there anything we didn't cover you'd like to bring up?
Necessarily. I didn't mention we do have something else that we kind of diversified into a few years ago. We wanted a bale enroller for ourselves to enroll feeding cows to extend the grazing season or on the corn residue. So we made one for ourselves, and then a whole bunch of buddies wanted one. So we started manufacturing bale enrollers.
Oh, yeah. So something for your free time, you can do that. Yeah.
My welding is okay. So no, we have them made.
Yeah, that's kind of me. I joke every time I weld something, it comes with a guarantee, because when it breaks, I'll just weld it again.
Yeah, that's pretty much my welding as well. I can mend gates back together, but nothing too fancy.
Yeah, that's me too. I watch Farmer Tyler on YouTube, and he's always building something, and he does such a great job with that. I'm not quite there.
Yeah, he's a better welder than me as well.
Yeah. Well, Jacob, it's time for our famous 4 questions. Same 4 questions we ask of all of our guests. Our first question, what is your favorite grazing grass related book or resource?
I don't think I have any favorites in that one, Cal. But the first couple I read are the ones that I remember the best were Salad Bar Beef and Pastured Poultry Profits from Joel Salatin. Those are the first books I read getting into this and kind of set me on this path. And the most recent one I read that I quite enjoyed reading, I read it fairly quick, was A Bold Return to Giving a Damn by Will Harris.
Oh, yes.
I really liked the reading of that book and his story. I'm not a big reader anymore. Smartphones kind of ruin that for me. Now I'm a podcast guy. But those were the ones that I remember the best and kind of my path.
Yeah, excellent resources. Now, Will Harris's book, I've had other people tell me the same thing, and I have it, and I haven't read it yet. And I was just complaining to my wife the other day, 2025 has not been a good reading year for me. For whatever reason, I just have not read as much this year. I started into the year with big goals, and I didn't even come near hitting them on the reading portion of it. Some years are like that. I don't know. Our second question, what is your favorite tool for the farm?
Yeah, my neighbors probably think I'm the biggest tool on our farm. But for myself, it's the quad, the four-wheeler. I use that every day. I couldn't go without it. I don't know how my dad farmed, ranched without one.
Oh, yes.
Because I mean, that's how we get around.
They're pretty handy.
Put in all our fence posts. So we have a pretty decent setup to unroll the poly wire and get done on that thing.
Will your bale unroller work on it, or do you have to use a tractor with it?
Yeah, absolutely. We pin it on the back. It's a trailer on four-wheeler tires.
Oh, yeah.
500cc four-wheeler. And no, it does a really good job unless it's too muddy or too much snow.
Right, yeah. Our third question, what would you tell someone just getting started?
Yeah, that one I have a really long list.
Oh, right. Excellent.
But the first thing, the most important thing is just get started. You have to start somewhere, and you don't need to wait to have all the right equipment. Like, just get a reel and a couple posts, and there you go.
Yes.
We started out with just that. A reel, some fiberglass posts in a golf club bag, and away you go. You're in business, and you learn quick. But over time, you learn to get better and want more efficient things, so you can just get things done and go. But I mean, that's it. You gotta start.
Yeah, excellent advice. You gotta get started. You want to share some more on your list?
Yeah, I can read you them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I got be creative, be resourceful, be open minded. Like, don't just shut people off when they're talking about the way they do things. You might pick up one little thing in there that changes your whole lookout about.
Oh, that is so true. Just be curious, be open-minded, listen to people, and you never know where you're going to find that hidden gem.
Yeah, we like networking and going to field days and bouncing ideas off friends, listening to conferences online. Next one on the list, be persistent. That's my nice way I was saying be stubborn to some extent. You can have a plan, but be flexible. So lay things out in front of you, but don't be stuck necessarily to that idea because you have to change along the way.
Right.
Surround yourself with people smarter than you. That's
why I do this podcast and talk to people like you.
Yeah, no, I think that's a pretty important one on there too. Have good tools to make things easy and fun. Like, that's part of why I built out my quad system, was to show the kids that it's easy and fun to go move cattle. And so everybody hops on the bike and we go move the cows. It takes 15 minutes and we play in the brook and just watch the cows and kind of meditate. And that's it. Makes it conducive to working as a family the way we have things set up. And the last one is be positive and optimistic. If we're just going to be negative, then we can get down pretty quick. So I like to be positive.
Oh, I agree. Yes. I'd much rather see all the positive things in the world than all the negative things. I just don't know how that would be any fun.
Yeah.
But Jacob, I'm going to be fully honest. I see right through you're making that work time fun with your UTV or with your four-wheeler, because in just a few years, your kids are going to be old enough. You're going to be like, go move those cows.
Just don't tell them that.
Yeah, we'll keep it on the down low right now.
It's a psychological training.
Yeah.
No. I think we'll have to get more quads, because I love going there especially at the end of the day. Just go.
Oh yeah.
In the middle of summer when it starts cooling off and watching the cows and the birds. No, that's my badge of honor, my big golden star at the end of the day. That's what I worked so hard for.
It sounds excellent. Lastly, where can others find out more about you?
We have Facebook for fair warning. It's all in French.
I know. I had to use Google Translate on it.
The PaysanGourmand.com is where our online store is and more about the business. And then we also have our genetics is sold through Target Angus brand, or you have targetangus.com, which might be only in French at the moment as well. Our bale and rollers are on there, and Target Angus on Facebook.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
And before we wrap up, Jacob, do you have a question for me?
How about, and tell me if it's too personal, but how do you see your transition, or do you have a transition set up with your, like, how you work things out with your father through your two businesses, or has it become one after a while? Or
Actually, that is a really tough question. And just in full transparency, I spent most of my younger age thinking I would have the opportunity to buy Dad's operation at some point. And I no longer think that, and that's okay. It was kind of rough for me when I finally figured out. Dad told me, he says he wasn't selling the land and stuff. He was just going to continue doing it. But I just didn't listen to him. I thought at some point he will. But I finally figured out he's not anytime soon. So that's the reason I started doing my operation on other properties, running cattle, livestock on leased land. And I know that's lots of farm families struggle with that. We don't have a good transition plan in place. And then the other thing is you think about generations, the next generation, we don't have anyone local that's really interested in it. Any of my kids, any of my nieces or nephews. We do have I do have a nephew that comes out here and helps us, but I don't think it's not really what he enjoys doing. I have one daughter that might be interested at some time in the future, but we don't have anyone out here just helping us, which is, you think about it, it's a little disappointing at times because you'd like for your kids to enjoy it, but they've all moved they haven't moved far away, but they don't come work cattle with me.
Yeah, because that's a hard one for me for the next generation. I don't know how I would feel if nobody wanted to come.
Yeah, I don't know. I've got one daughter that she talks about, and she's got she got some sheep from us, and she's always involved in ag somewhat. So at some point she might be interested. I'm pretty sure all the other kids are not interested. Of my nieces and nephews, I have one niece that would have been interested, but she got married and moved a couple hours away, and they've got a big operation themselves, so they're not interested in being in this area. So it is kind of interesting and worrisome, and of course I tell my wife, we don't know what the next generation holds. Someone there may want to.
Mm-hmm.
I know when the grandkids come out, they want to go see all the animals I've got. So maybe someone there.
Yeah. Future will tell us.
Yeah, I don't know. But good question. Jacob, I really appreciate you coming on. You came on kind of a short notice and helped me out of an issue. So I really appreciate that, Jacob.
Yeah,
appreciate you coming on and sharing.
Thank you for having me as my first podcast. Pop the Jerry, and here we are.
There we go. Yes. Now you're an old pro at it.
Yeah, right. I'm sure you'll have some editing to do.
Jacob, thank you again for taking the time to come on the Grazing Grass Podcast and share your story. I really appreciate your honesty about what's working, what's challenging, and how you're thinking through the future of your farm and your family. If you've enjoyed this episode, make sure to check out the show notes for links to Jacob's operation, Target Angus, the Paysan Gourmand. I tried again. And the resources we mentioned throughout the conversation. Even if your French is a little rusty, there's lots there worth exploring. As always, if this episode sparked an idea or made you think differently about grazing, infrastructure, or direct marketing, I'd encourage you to share with a friend or fellow grazer. That's how these conversations keep going and growing. Thanks for listening, and until next time, More grass, better soil, happier livestock. Keep on grazing.